Lin Mo, can't you be a little more mature? Su Wonking's impatient voice came through the phone. I stood alone on the dormitory balcony, a cup of milk tea still hanging from my hand. The cold night wind bit through my jacket, making me shiver. Mature, I let out a bitter laugh. I just want to know why you went to the hospital with Chen Zixuan while telling me you were studying in the library. Silence. 2 long seconds passed. Then she sighed. He was sick, he was all alone in the hospital. I just kept him company for a while. Do you really have to be this petty? There it was again. The same excuse. For 3 whole years. Whenever Zhang Hao got dumped, she stayed out drinking with him until 2 in the morning. Whenever Li Ji got scolded by a professor, she spent the entire day comforting him. When Wang Chen sprained his ankle during basketball practice, she personally carried a first aid kit to take care of him for 3 straight days. And me. Last month I had a fever of 103.6 degrees F. I called her from my bed, barely able to stay conscious. Her answer: I'm in a student union meeting. You're a grown man, can't you just go to the hospital yourself? So I did. I called a taxi. Checked myself into the ER. Sat through an IV drip alone in a freezing hallway while watching other girlfriends fuss over their boyfriends. Meanwhile, she uploaded photos of herself having dinner with her student union friends. Caption: so happy spending time with everyone. That was the moment it finally hit me. I wasn't the most important person in her life. Hell, I wasn't even as important as her ordinary friends. She was still talking. Lin Mo, can you stop keeping score all the time? You're my boyfriend, you should understand me, support me. I smiled. A tired, bitter smile. So because I'm your boyfriend, I'm the one who's supposed to be ignored. Why do you always make everything about yourself? Because I'm your boyfriend. Exactly. Her voice grew firmer. That's why you should be more understanding. I froze. Seriously. Apparently being someone's boyfriend now meant volunteering to be taken for granted. I took a slow, deep breath. Su Wonking. What? Let's break up. Silence. 5 seconds. Then, she laughed. Lin Mo, are you seriously throwing a tantrum? I'm serious. Oh, come on. Her tone softened slightly. I'll buy you milk tea tomorrow, okay? You don't have to. I spoke calmly. We're done. This time. She went quiet. More than 10 seconds passed before she spoke again. You've really thought this through. I have. Lin Mo. Her voice turned icy. You'd better not regret this. I won't. Click. The line went dead. I stood there on the balcony, staring into the darkness. For the first time in years, I felt light. 3 years. 3 whole years. I'd revolved around her like my entire world depended on it. Whenever she said she was hungry, I'd run across campus at midnight just to buy her snacks. Whenever she felt cold, I'd rush through the rain to bring her an extra jacket. Whenever she was upset, I'd skip classes just to keep her company. And after all that, I still ranked lower than the random people on her social media. If that was the case, then it was finally time to let go. Back in the dorm room, my 3 roommates were busy playing video games. As soon as I walked in, Joe Kai glanced over. Yo, back from your date with the campus goddess. I set the untouched milk tea on my desk. We broke up. Click. 3 keyboards stopped at the same time. Silence swallowed the room. Lao San's fried chicken legs slipped from his hand and landed on the floor. Chendong slowly removed his headset. What did you just say? I broke up with Su Wonking. The 3 of them stared at each other. Then, Joe Kai rushed over and pressed a hand against my forehead. No fever. Chendong looked horrified. Dude, did someone possess your body? Lao San was even worse. Call 911, Lin Mo's gone insane. I kicked him away. Get lost. The 3 of them circled me like I was some newly discovered alien species. Honestly, I couldn't blame them. Everyone at the university knew how obsessed I was with Su Wonking. People used to joke that if she wanted a star from the sky, I'd probably borrow a ladder and try climbing up to get it. Joe Kai swallowed. So, you really broke up? Yeah. Who dumped who? I did. Silence. Again. Then all three exploded at once. Holy crap. No way. Bro, you finally woke up. I blinked. What do you mean? Jendong slapped my shoulder. To be honest, we've wanted you to dump her for years. Seriously? Joe Kai snorted. Do you even know what everyone on campus calls you? What? He grinned. Number 1 simp. I twitched. Lao San added mercilessly. Lifetime Achievement Award Edition. Hey. Just then, my phone rang. The room instantly became quiet. Caller ID. Su Wongking. All three roommates leaned in. I answered. Her voice came through, colder than before. I'm downstairs outside your dorm. What do you want? Come down. I don't want to. There was a brief pause. She clearly hadn't expected that answer. The old me. If she waited downstairs, I'd run. If she waited on the rooftop, I'd climb all the way up. Lin Mo. Her voice sharpened. Stop acting childish. I'm not. Then come downstairs. No. 3 seconds of silence. Then. Fine. Her tone became icy. If you won't come down, I'll come up. Click. The call ended. My roommate's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. Holy crap. The campus goddess is actually coming here to apologize. Did the sun rise in the west today? Even I was surprised. During the past 3 years, every single argument had ended with me apologizing first. She had never, not once, come looking for me. Not until today. Less than 5 minutes later. Knock. 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 The dorm room door echoed through the hallway. The moment I opened it, there she stood. Wearing a flowing white dress, her long black hair cascading over her shoulders. She was still breathtakingly beautiful. Within seconds, the entire boys' dorm erupted. Heads poked out from every room. Damn, that's Su Wongking. Why's the campus goddess in the guys' dorm? This is huge. She looked straight at me, her expression tense. Can we talk? I leaned against the doorway. We can talk right here. Her brows furrowed. Lin Mo. Do you really have to embarrass me like this? I couldn't help laughing. Embarrass you? When I was sitting alone in the hospital with an IV in my arm. Did you ever stop to think how embarrassed I felt? She froze. You're still holding on to that. For a moment, I almost laughed out loud. Of course. Only the person who gets hurt remembers the pain. The one who caused it rarely even realizes what they've done. I looked into her eyes. And for the very first time, I realized something. I didn't love her as much as I thought I did anymore. Su Wongking. I spoke quietly. It's really over. Her confident expression finally cracked. You're serious? I am. Because I treated other people well. You got jealous. I shook my head. No. It's because I finally realized something. You treat everyone kindly. Except me. Her lips parted. But no words came out. The entire hallway fell silent. After what felt like forever, she forced out a smile. One that looked far more painful than genuine. You'll regret this, Lin Mo. I nodded. Maybe. Then don't ever come looking for me. I won't. She bit her lip. Waiting. Hoping I'd stop her. But I simply stood there. Calm. Motionless. Finally, she turned around and walked away. When she reached the stairwell, she stopped. Without looking back, she asked quietly. Lin Mo. Hemoy. You weren't like this before. A faint smile appeared on my face. Back then, I also believed you loved me. The door closed. With that, 3 years came to an end. Outside the dorm, Su Wongking stood beneath the streetlight, staring at my window. For the first time, her eyes turned red. At the very same moment, a post exploded across the university forum. Breaking news, campus goddess Sue Wonking gets dumped by her boyfriend. Within 10 minutes, over 1,000 replies flooded in. The entire campus was in an uproar. And I had no idea. This breakup wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. The biggest twist of my college life. It was just about to unfold. The next morning, I was dragged out of my sleep by what sounded like 3 dying wolves. Linmo, wake up. Dude, get up. You're famous. I cracked one eye open. My 3 roommates were standing around my bed, staring at me with glowing eyes like they'd just won the lottery. I rubbed my face. What happened? Did the dorm catch fire? Joe Kai shoved his phone inches from my face. This is way better than a fire. I glanced at the screen. The university forum's front page displayed one gigantic headline. The ultimate comeback, campus simp dumps the school goddess. Views 38,000. Replies 6,700. I twitched. Who came up with that title? Scrolling down only made things worse. No way Linmo actually dumped Sue Wonking. The campus goddess got rejected, impossible. I saw it with my own eyes, she even went to the boys' dorm. She looked like she'd been crying. This is the biggest campus drama of the year. Someone had even started a poll. How long before Lin Mo gets back together with Sue Wonking? 1 hour. 1 day. 3 days. 1 week. Longer than a week. The most ridiculous part. More than 80% had voted for it within 1 day. Hey. Joe Kai patted my shoulder. Don't feel bad. Nobody believes you can stick to it. I kicked him off my bed. Is that supposed to comfort me? Before anyone could say another word, my phone rang. Silence instantly filled the room. All 3 heads turned toward the screen. Sue Wonking. Joe Kai slapped his thigh excitedly. It's happening. The reunion arc starts now. Lao San had somehow produced a bag of sunflower seeds. Hurry up and answer. I need front row seats. I rolled my eyes before picking up. Hello. Her voice sounded unusually calm. Are you awake? That caught me off guard. She wasn't calling to argue. I just woke up. Come downstairs. What for? I brought you breakfast. A loud gasp echoed through the dorm room. My roommates looked as though gravity had stopped working. Even I was surprised. 3 years. Not once, not a single time, had Sue Wonking ever bought me breakfast. Every morning, I'd been the one waking up before 6. I'd stand in line at the cafeteria for steamed buns and soy milk. Then carry everything across campus to her dorm. Once during a thunderstorm, I got completely soaked just to bring her hot porridge. She'd taken 1 sip before saying, "Next time don't buy preserved egg porridge. I don't like it." And now, she was bringing breakfast to me. When I didn't respond, she spoke again. Hurry. I'm waiting downstairs. I stayed quiet for 2 seconds. No thanks. Silence. What do you mean? I'm not hungry. I'll wait until you are. Hey. Had she hit her head or something? I pinched the bridge of my nose. Sue Wonking. We already broke up. Her voice softened. I know. Then why are you here? No answer. After a long pause, she finally whispered. I want to treat you better. For a split second, my heart trembled. If she'd said those words a week ago, I probably would have cried from happiness. But now, all I felt was irony. People always learn how to cherish something only after they've already lost it. Unfortunately, some things don't come with a rewind button. You don't have to. I ended the call. The dorm remained deathly quiet. Lao San stared at me in disbelief. Bro. Yes. Tell me honestly, were you secretly replaced by an alien? 10 minutes later, I finished getting ready for class. The moment I stepped outside the dorm building, I saw her. Sue Wonking. She stood beneath the entrance wearing a white sweater, holding a paper bag filled with breakfast. The second she spotted me, her face brightened. Lin Mo. I stopped walking. So did everyone else nearby. Within seconds, students slowed down, pretending not to stare. The campus goddess delivering breakfast in person. That was rarer than a solar eclipse. She walked up to me and lifted the bag. I bought your favorite soup dumplings. I didn't take it. Instead, I asked, how do you know they're my favorite? She blinked. You eat them all the time. I smiled faintly. No. I bought them because you liked them. I always bought 2 boxes. You ate your favorite. I finished whatever was left. Her hand froze in midair. Her expression slowly changed. It was obvious. She'd never known. I looked at her quietly. 3 years. She didn't even know my favorite food. Meanwhile, I could list every single one of hers. She liked milk tea with 70% sugar. She hated cilantro. She couldn't stand onions. She needed a stuffed animal to fall asleep. I even remembered the exact dates of her monthly cycle. But what about her? She'd never truly tried to know me. The crowd around us became strangely silent. Sue Wonking lowered her head. Her fingers tightened around the breakfast bag. I'm sorry. I looked up. That was the first time in 3 years I'd ever heard those words from her. Too bad. They had arrived far too late. I gently shook my head. You don't need to apologize, Lin Mo. Because I don't care anymore. The words hit her like a hammer. Her eyes instantly turned red. Do you really not love me anymore? I didn't answer. Did I still love her? Maybe. 3 years of feelings couldn't disappear overnight. But disappointment had worn away every piece of that love. My silence said everything. Her face grew paler by the second. At that moment, a sleek black sports car pulled up beside the curb. The driver's door opened. A tall, handsome young man stepped out carrying a cup of coffee. Chen Zixuan, vice president of the student union, and the man who always seemed to be by Sue Wonking's side. He smiled as he approached. Wonking, I bought your cough. His voice stopped. He noticed me. Then the breakfast bag. His smile vanished. You brought breakfast for him. Sue Wonking frowned. What does that have to do with you? Chen Zixuan froze. He clearly hadn't expected that response. In the past, she'd been gentle with everyone. Except me. Yet today, she'd spoken coldly to someone else. Because of me. How ironic. People only realize who mattered when they're about to lose them. Chen Zixuan forced a smile. You're only doing this because you're upset about the breakup. She said nothing. He continued confidently. Come on. Linmo can't live without you. Several nearby students nodded. Everyone believed the same thing. That I would always come back. Without another word. I walked straight past both of them. Excuse me. I never looked back. Behind me, everything went silent. Sue Wonking remained standing there, staring at my retreating figure. For the first time, real fear crept into her heart. Because she suddenly realized. This time, Lin Mo wasn't pretending. He was really leaving. What she didn't know was that from the second floor of the teaching building, another pair of eyes had been quietly watching the entire scene. A beautiful girl wearing a baseball cap leaned against the railing. A faint smile slowly spread across her lips. So, you finally broke up. She whispered my name under her breath. Lin Mo. I've been waiting for this day. For 3 whole years. Second period that morning. The moment I stepped into the classroom, an eerie silence swept across the room. Then, every head turned toward me. The looks on their faces made it seem like I'd just walked in wearing a superhero cape. I had barely sat down when my best friend Zhao Yu slid into the seat beside me. Bro, you're officially a celebrity now. I sighed as I opened my textbook. What happened this time? Without saying a word, Zhao Yu handed me his phone. The university forum had exploded again. A brand new post sat firmly at the top. Breaking: campus goddess personally delivers breakfast, rejected by ex-boyfriend. The comments had already passed 10,000. No way he actually turned her down. Even after she apologized. He's definitely playing hard to get. I'll bet a month's allowance they'll be back together within 3 days. I rubbed my forehead. Do college students seriously have nothing better to do? Before Zhao Yu could answer, a sudden commotion erupted outside the classroom. What the hell? Is that really her? No way. Everyone instinctively looked toward the door, including me. Then, I froze. Standing there was a girl. She wore a white hoodie, blue jeans, and a high ponytail that swayed gently as she walked. Her skin was almost impossibly fair. Her features looked so flawless she could have stepped straight out of a manga. More importantly, she was stunning, completely different from Su Wongking. Su Wongking possessed a soft, graceful beauty. This girl radiated confidence. She was like sunshine on the brightest day of summer. The classroom erupted. It's Zhang Qingyu, the finance department beauty. Yeah. I heard she almost became campus queen sophomore year. Why is she here? Even I was surprised. Of course I knew who she was. Practically everyone at the university did. Zhang Qingyu, the most admired girl in the School of Finance. Rumor had it she had nearly stolen Su Wongking's title as the campus goddess 2 years ago. But afterwards, she mysteriously stopped attending school events. She'd become so low profile that people gradually forgot about her. Which made one question even stranger. Why was she here? Before anyone could figure it out, she walked directly toward me, step by step, stopping beside my desk. Then she smiled. A dazzling smile. Long time no see, Lin Mo. The classroom froze. Hey. Everyone stared, including me. Zhao Yu's jaw nearly hit the floor. You know each other. I blinked. Do we? She puffed out her cheeks. You forgot. I looked at her carefully. She seemed familiar. Very familiar. But I simply couldn't place her. Seeing my confused expression, she folded her arms and huffed dramatically. I knew it. You really forgot me. Then, without asking anyone, she pulled out the chair beside mine and sat down. The classroom collectively forgot how to breathe. Zhao Yu grabbed my arm. Dude, the finance queen is sitting next to you. I leaned closer and whispered. Have we actually met? She let out a tiny snort. 3 years ago. Freshman orientation. You saved me. The words hit me like lightning. A memory suddenly flashed through my mind. 3 years earlier. The freshman welcome festival. A girl had been knocked down by the crowd and twisted her ankle. I'd carried her to the campus clinic. Bought medicine for her afterward. But then, Su Wongking had called me. I rushed away immediately after making sure the girl was okay. I hadn't even asked her name. My eyes widened. That was you. She smiled. So you finally remember. I rubbed the back of my neck awkwardly. Sorry. My memory isn't great. She looked at me quietly before shaking her head. Your memory is fine. You just couldn't see anyone except Su Wongking. Hey. That one hurt. Around us, dozens of students had secretly stopped pretending to study. Every ear in the room was pointed toward us. The gossip level had reached maximum. Then, Zhang Qingyu reached into her backpack. She carefully placed a beautifully wrapped gift box on my desk. This is for you. I blinked. For me. She nodded. A thank you gift. The classroom exploded. What? She brought him a present. I must still be dreaming. Zhao Yu looked seconds away from fainting. I hurriedly pushed the box back. You don't have to. She pushed it toward me again. I do. I should have given it to you 3 years ago. I couldn't help laughing. You still remember something from 3 years ago. She looked straight into my eyes. Of course. Because that day, you were the only person who was kind to me. Something inside me stirred. Just a little. It wasn't because of the gift. It was because someone had remembered. 3 years later, she still remembered a kindness that I myself had forgotten. Before I could respond, another wave of noise erupted outside. Everyone turned toward the door again. Standing there was Su Wongking. She carried a small bag of fruit in her hands. Apparently, she'd come looking for me again. But the instant she stepped inside, She stopped. Her gaze landed on Jiang Qingyu. Then, on the gift box sitting on my desk. Her face visibly paled. The classroom fell completely silent. Nobody dared make a sound. This was the ultimate showdown. She slowly walked over. Her voice sounded stiff. Lin Mo. I looked up. What's wrong? She ignored me. Instead, she stared at Jiang Qingyu. What are you two doing? Jiang Qingyu smiled sweetly. Talking. Su Wangqing bit her lip. Are you close? Jiang Qingyu tilted her head thoughtfully. Not before. She smiled again. But I think we'll become very close. Boom. The sentence landed like a bomb. Gasps echoed throughout the classroom. Even Zhao Yu nearly fell out of his chair. Su Wangqing's expression completely changed. She turned toward me. There was panic in her eyes for the first time. Lin Mo. You and hers. Before I could answer, Jiang Qingyu stood up. She extended a hand toward Su Wangqing with a perfectly polite smile. Hello. My name is Jiang Qingyu. She deliberately paused. The classroom was so quiet that even breathing sounded loud. Then she smiled. Brightly. Confidently. And I'm going to be. She paused once more. Linmo's future pursuer. Silence. 1 second. 2 seconds. Then, the entire classroom erupted. Someone actually spat water across the room. Another student jumped to his feet. Zhao Yu clutched his chest dramatically. Holy. She's declaring war. Right in front of the X. People were laughing. Cheering. Recording everything on their phones. Meanwhile, Su Wangqing stood frozen. The color slowly drained from her face. Her eyes turned red. Because at that exact moment, she finally realized something. Lin Mo wasn't someone only she could choose. Someone else could choose him too. And perhaps even more frightening. Someone else already had. Jiang Qingyu turned back toward me. Her smile softened. So, she asked gently. Lin Mo, may I pursue you? The classroom instantly fell silent once again. Every pair of eyes locked onto me. Waiting. Holding their breath. As I looked at the radiant girl standing before me, a strange feeling settled into my heart. Somehow, I had a feeling. My quiet college life was about to become anything but quiet. The classroom was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Every pair of eyes was fixed on me. Even Professor Liu, who had been flipping through his lecture notes, had stopped completely. Instead of beginning class, he stood there watching the unfolding drama with obvious curiosity. I rubbed my temples. Do professors enjoy gossip this much these days? Jiang Qingyu was still standing beside my desk, smiling at me. So, she tilted her head. Will you think about it? Before I could answer, Zhao Yu nearly jumped out of his seat. Say yes. Brother, just say yes already. That's Jiang Qingyu. The finance department goddess is asking you out. I shoved him back into his chair. Would you calm down? The class burst into laughter. I turned back toward Jiang Qingyu. You've got to be joking. She blinked innocently. Do I look like I'm joking? I'm serious. That only made things more awkward. I'd broken up with my girlfriend barely 24 hours ago. And now another beautiful girl was standing in front of an entire classroom, openly announcing that she wanted to pursue me. It sounded completely unreal. I cleared my throat. To be honest, I'm not looking for a relationship right now. Jiang Qingyu looked as if she'd expected that answer all along. Instead of disappointment, her smile only grew brighter. That's okay. I said I wanted to pursue you. I never said you had to say yes today. She leaned in slightly. Her eyes sparkled with confidence. I've got plenty of time. The classroom exploded once again. She's incredible. How is she this smooth? If someone said that to me, I'd fall in love on the spot. I think Lin Mo saved the galaxy in his previous life. Meanwhile, Su Wangqing stood frozen near the classroom door. The color had completely drained from her face. She looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Fear. Real fear. Lin Mo. Her voice trembled slightly. Are you really going to be with her? Before I had the chance to answer, Jiang Qingyu smiled. Politely. Almost sweetly. She turned toward Su Wangqing. May I ask something? Su Wangqing looked at her blankly. What? Jiang Qingyu folded her hands behind her back. What exactly are you asking me as? Eh. My point is. She smiled again. What role do you have in his life now? The question hit like a hammer. Su Wangqing froze. What role? His girlfriend. Not anymore. His ex. Yes. A classmate. Also yes. But no matter which answer she chose, none of them gave her the right to interfere. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. For the first time, the campus goddess had been left speechless. Looking at her standing there helplessly, I suddenly realized something. Even someone who always seemed untouchable could become lost. At that moment the class bell rang. Professor Liu finally cleared his throat. All right. Everyone sit down. If you're all this interested in romance, I'll start teaching psychology instead. The classroom erupted with laughter. Red-faced, Su Wangqing stood there for another few seconds before quietly turning around. She walked away without another word. Her lonely figure slowly disappeared down the hallway. The rest of the lecture passed in a blur. Mostly because Jiang Qingyu was sitting beside me. She barely paid attention to the lesson. Instead, every few minutes I'd catch her secretly looking at me. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. What? She rested her chin on one hand. I'm looking at you. Why? She smiled. Because you're handsome. I never noticed before. She laughed softly. That's because before, there was only one person in your eyes. Su Wangqing. I couldn't even argue. She was right. For 3 years, my world had revolved around a single person. When class finally ended, Jiang Qingyu stretched lazily before standing up. Let's go. Where? Lunch. I usually eat with my roommates. She nodded naturally. Perfect. We'll all eat together. 10 minutes later. The university cafeteria. I sat down with my 3 roommates. Jiang Qingyu casually took the seat beside me. Across the table, Zhou Kai Chendong and Lao San looked like statues. None of them had touched their food. Zhou Kai secretly kicked me under the table. Bros. What? Tell me honestly. He lowered his voice. Did you secretly enroll in some dating masterclass? What? Otherwise explain this. Yesterday you dumped the campus goddess. Today another campus beauty is chasing you. I don't get it. I don't get it either. Before anyone could continue, a wave of whispers spread across the cafeteria. The campus goddess. She's here. Everyone instinctively looked toward the entrance. Sure enough, Su Wangqing had just walked inside. She scanned the room. Within seconds, her eyes found me. Without hesitation, she walked straight toward our table. The cafeteria gradually quieted. Students slowed their eating. Some openly pulled out their phones. Nobody wanted to miss this. She stopped beside us. Her gaze lingered briefly on Jiang Qingyu. Then she looked at me. Lin Mo. Yes. May I sit here? She pointed toward the empty chair beside me. The entire table froze. Back when we were dating, I had invited her to lunch countless times. 9 out of 10 times. She refused. I'm eating with friends. Student union meeting. I don't feel like cafeteria food today. Now, she was asking to eat with me. Before I could answer, Jiang Qingyu smiled. I'm sorry. This seat's taken. Su Wangqing frowned. By who? Jiang Qingyu pointed at herself. Me. For the first time, Su Wangqing realized this girl was far more difficult than she'd imagined. She inhaled quietly before looking at me again. Then, I'll sit across from you. Without waiting for permission, she pulled out the opposite chair and sat down. The cafeteria exploded. The former campus goddess. The finance department beauty. and Lin Mo, all at the same table. Students couldn't believe their eyes. Even my roommates didn't dare move. The atmosphere grew increasingly awkward. Then, Jiang Qingyu casually picked up a piece of braised pork with her chopsticks. She placed it into my tray. "You've gotten too skinny. Eat more." I looked at her in surprise. Thanks." A sharp clack echoed across the table. Su Wongking's chopsticks had slipped from her fingers. She stared blankly at the piece of braised pork. Her face slowly turned pale. Because she suddenly realized something. Not once, in 3 years, had she ever put food on my plate. Worse, she didn't even know braised pork was my favorite. Yet this girl, who had only recently reappeared in my life, already knew. Something tightened painfully inside her chest. Jiang Qingyu looked at her gently. "Su Wongking, can I ask you something?" Su Wongking nodded absent-mindedly. "Go ahead." Jiang Qingyu smiled. "Why are you surprised someone likes Lin Mo?" Su Wongking lowered her eyes. "Because." She couldn't answer. Instead, she asked a different question. "Why do you like him?" The table fell silent again. Jiang Qingyu thought for a moment. Then her smile softened. "Because he's kind. He's gentle. He's thoughtful. He notices how other people feel." She glanced at me. Her expression became unexpectedly serious. "And most importantly, he deserves to be loved." Those words struck Su Wongking harder than anything else that day. He deserves to be loved. She sat there motionless. Her mind replayed every memory from the past 3 years. Every breakfast I'd delivered. Every rainy night. Every hospital visit. Every time I'd silently put her first. She'd accepted all of it. As if it were simply normal. As if my love had been guaranteed forever. But now, someone else had recognized the treasure she'd taken for granted. And that realization terrified her more than anything. Just then, her phone rang. Caller ID. "Mom." She answered absent-mindedly. Her mother's cheerful voice came through immediately. "Wongking, I just ran into Lin Mo's mother. She told me you two broke up. What happened to you? Do you have any idea how hard it is to find a boy like Lin Mo these days?" Su Wongking froze. "Mom, I'm telling you right now. If you still care about him, go win him back. Boys like him don't come around twice." The call ended. She stared blankly at her phone. For the first time in her life, she truly began questioning herself. Did I really lose someone irreplaceable? Meanwhile, across the table, Jiang Qingyu smiled at me. "Lin Mo. Hemoy. Are you free this afternoon?" "What for?" She grinned mysteriously. "I want to take you somewhere." "Where?" She winked. "You'll see when we get there." For some reason, I suddenly had a feeling. My peaceful life was about to become even more complicated. At 2 o'clock that afternoon, I found myself being dragged out of campus by Jiang Qingyu. The entire trip she acted strangely mysterious. No matter how many times I asked where we were going, she only smiled and shook her head. Finally, I couldn't help asking, "You're not planning to sell me somewhere, are you?" She glanced back over her shoulder. "Relax. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't have the heart to sell you." I laughed helplessly. This girl really knows how to catch people off guard. 20 minutes later, the taxi stopped in front of a small dessert shop downtown. The sign simply read, "Moonlight Dessert House." I looked at her. "You brought me here for dessert." She smiled mysteriously. "You'll understand once we go inside." The moment we pushed open the glass door, a pleasant aroma of freshly baked pastries filled the air. The shop was quiet. Only a few customers sat near the windows. Behind the counter stood a cheerful middle-aged woman. The instant she saw me, her eyes lit up. "Oh my. Xiaolin, you're finally here." I froze. "Excuse me. Do I know you?" The woman laughed so hard that the corners of her eyes wrinkled. "Of course. I've heard all about you." "Hey. What?" She beamed. "My Yu talks about you every single day." Boom. My brain stopped working. Yo you. I slowly turned toward Jiang Qingyu. She had both hands covering her face. Even the tips of her ears were bright red. Mom. She sounded completely mortified. Please stop talking. Mom. I blinked twice. This was her mother. More importantly, she talked about me every day. The woman ignored her daughter's embarrassment. Instead, she happily grabbed my arm. Come. Sit down. My daughter has waited 3 years to bring you here. Hey. I stared at her blankly. Waited. 3 years. My brain was officially overheating. Jiang Qingyu stomped her foot. Mom. If you keep saying things like that, I'm leaving. Her mother burst into laughter. All right. I'll stop. She said she'd stop. But moments later she returned carrying an entire table full of cakes, fruit tarts, pudding, and drinks. Eat as much as you like. I'll leave you two alone. Before heading upstairs, she winked dramatically at Jiang Qingyu. The message couldn't have been more obvious. Go get him. The shop became wonderfully quiet. I looked across the table. Jiang Qingyu refused to meet my eyes. Instead, she kept poking her strawberry cake with a tiny spoon. Her cheeks were still crimson. After nearly a minute of silence, I finally spoke. Your mom just said, you've been waiting for me for 3 years. She immediately stiffened. She exaggerates. Does she? Yes. Then why did she say you talk about me every day? Silence. I leaned back in my chair. The more she avoided the question, the more curious I became. Jiang Qingyu. Yeah. Are you hiding something from me? She lowered her head. Neither of us spoke. Almost a full minute passed. Finally, she lifted her eyes. There was a complicated expression in them. Lin Mo. If I told you, I've liked you for a very long time, would you believe me? Everything around us suddenly seemed to become incredibly quiet. How long? I asked softly. She inhaled deeply. 3 years. Boom. It felt as if my mind had gone completely blank. 3 years. She'd liked me. For 3 years. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Seeing my expression, she smiled. But there was bitterness hidden inside it. I know. It sounds unbelievable. I instinctively nodded. Honestly, it really does. We'd barely interacted. How could someone quietly love another person for 3 years? As if reading my thoughts, she began speaking. 3 years ago. The freshman orientation. I didn't know anyone. When I was knocked down by the crowd, everyone just watched. No one came. She looked down at her hands. Except you. You carried me all the way to the campus clinic. You even ran out to buy medicine. You probably don't remember. But I was terrified. You stayed with me. You kept telling me everything would be okay. I frowned slightly. But I didn't stay very long. You left because Su Wonking called. She finished the sentence for me. I know. When you left, you gave me your jacket. I blinked. The memory slowly returned. That evening had been chilly. I was afraid she'd catch a cold, so I casually left my jacket behind. After that, life became busy. I completely forgot about it. She looked into my eyes. Do you know? That was the first time anyone had ever treated me that kindly. Her voice was gentle. Later, I looked for you. My heartbeat slowed. But then, I saw you with Su Wonking. A bitter smile appeared on her face. So I gave up. I could see how much you loved her. I didn't want to become someone who ruined your happiness. So, I chose to like you quietly. For 3 whole years. Neither of us spoke. I didn't know what to say. Somewhere, a girl had silently carried feelings for me. For 3 years. And I had never known. After a while, she reached into her bag. She carefully placed a small black gift box on the table. There was actually another reason why I wanted you to come today. What is it? She gently pushed the box toward me. I wanted to give this back. Curious, I opened it. Inside, folded with unbelievable care, was a black jacket. My jacket. The one I'd left behind 3 years ago. I stared at it. You kept it all this time. She nodded shyly. Yes. I couldn't bear to return it. My heart skipped a beat. 3 years. She treasured one ordinary jacket. For 3 entire years. I didn't know why. But something inside me softened. At that exact moment, the front door suddenly burst open. Lin Mo. The familiar voice startled both of us. I turned around. Standing in the doorway. Breathing heavily. Tiny beads of sweat covering her forehead. Was Su Wongking. It looked like she'd run all the way here. Her eyes immediately landed on the jacket resting inside the gift box. Then, she looked at Jiang Qingyu. Slowly, the color drained from her face. So, her voice trembled. You really have loved him for 3 years. Jiang Qingyu looked genuinely surprised. She clearly hadn't expected Su Wongking to find this place. I was just as shocked. How did you know we were here? Su Wongking didn't answer. She simply looked at me. Her eyes gradually reddened. A sad smile appeared on her lips. I didn't realize. There was someone else. Who loved you this much? Silence filled the dessert shop. She lowered her head. Her voice shook. Lin Mo. Was I really that terrible? For the first time. She wasn't asking me. She was asking herself. For the first time. She admitted she'd been wrong. Unfortunately, some realizations arrive. Only after it's already too late. I remained silent. Because deep down, she already knew the answer. The dessert shop became completely still. Finally, she looked up. A tear rolled slowly down her cheek. She looked directly into my eyes. If I start treating you the way I should have. Starting today. Is there still time? I didn't answer immediately. Beside me, Jiang Qingyu quietly clenched her hands beneath the table. Two girls. One had loved me without realizing my worth until she lost me. The other had quietly protected her feelings for 3 long years. Both of them were waiting for my answer. And somehow, I knew the real story had only just begun. The dessert shop fell into complete silence. Su Wongking stood there with tears in her eyes. Lin Mo. If I start treating you the way I should have from now on. Is it too late? Beside me, Jiang Qingyu quietly lowered her gaze. She didn't interrupt. She didn't argue. She simply waited. Waiting for my answer. I looked at Su Wongking for a long moment before letting out a quiet sigh. Wongking. There are some things that can't be fixed just because we finally understand them. Her shoulders trembled. But I really know I was wrong. I believe you. I smiled gently. I truly do. But knowing you were wrong doesn't guarantee you'll be forgiven. Her face froze. Tears rolled silently down her cheeks. I really loved you. I got used to you always being there. I nodded. I know. That's exactly why you never imagined that one day I would leave. She lowered her head. Her shoulders shook uncontrollably. Because everything I said was true. For 3 years, she'd grown accustomed to waking up to breakfast waiting for her. To having someone rush across campus whenever she needed help. To medicine appearing whenever she was sick. To someone patiently comforting her whenever she was upset. She had accepted all of it as something natural. She had never stopped to ask herself, what if one day he simply stopped? Now, that day had finally arrived. I slowly stood up. Carefully folded the black jacket. Then looked at her. Wongking. It's time for both of us. And move forward. She looked up instantly. The last trace of hope disappeared from her eyes. After several long seconds, she forced out a smile. One more painful than tears. So, this is what it feels like to lose someone She wiped away her tears, then looked at me sincerely. I'm sorry for making you feel lonely. For 3 whole years. For a brief moment, I was stunned. Then, something inside me quietly relaxed. I smiled. It's okay. Because at that moment, I realized something. I no longer blamed her. And I no longer loved her. Su Wonking left. This time, she didn't turn around. Neither did I. Our story finally came to an end. The following weeks brought an unexpected change across campus. The once lively campus goddess became strangely quiet. She withdrew from several student organizations. She stopped surrounding herself with countless friends. She no longer rushed around helping everyone. Instead, she often ate alone, studied alone, walked alone. Sometimes we'd cross paths on campus. She would smile politely. Morning. Morning. That was all. No pleading. No tears. No attempts to get back together. She accepted reality and quietly learned to grow. As for me, life slowly returned to normal. Well, almost normal. There was one obvious difference. A certain girl had become my permanent shadow. Lin Mo. I saved you a seat. Don't forget your jacket today. I bought milk tea. My mom made braised pork. She told me to bring some for you. Within only 1 month, the entire university knew one thing. Jiang Qingyu was openly pursuing me. Without embarrassment. Without hiding. The university forum immediately created another trending topic. Campus goddess loses her boyfriend, finance beauty begins official pursuit. The thread quickly surpassed 100,000 views. Everyday Jokai looked at me with endless envy. Brother, did your life suddenly unlock cheat codes? You dump one campus goddess, and another one starts chasing you. You should seriously write a book. How to make beautiful girls chase you. I laughed. I'd buy the first copy myself. Time flew. Final exams ended. Summer arrived. One evening, Jiang Qingyu asked me to meet her at the athletic field. The warm breeze drifted across the empty track. She stood beneath a streetlight with both hands behind her back. The moment she saw me, she smiled. You came. You asked. Of course I came. We walked quietly around the track. Neither of us spoke. After a long while, she finally stopped walking. Lin Mo. Hemoy. How long have I been chasing you? I pretended to think. About a month. She puffed out her cheeks. It's been 36 days. I couldn't help laughing. She laughed too. Then, she took a deep breath, as though gathering every bit of courage she had. So, she looked into my eyes. Do you still not want a relationship? The evening breeze gently lifted her hair. Her bright eyes were filled with hope. I looked at her quietly. Then memories flooded back. 3 years ago. A frightened freshman. A forgotten black jacket. 3 silent years of waiting. 36 days of patient companionship. She never asked me to forget the past. She simply stayed by my side. Until I was ready to smile again. Only then did I finally understand. The greatest love isn't the loudest. It's the one that quietly remains. I smiled. Jiang Qingyu. Yes. If I said yes today, I wonder if someone would be too excited to sleep tonight. She blinked. Then her eyes slowly widened. W8. What do you mean? I reached out my hand. My girlfriend. Please take good care of me. For a full 10 seconds. She completely froze. Then, AHHHH. Her excited scream echoed across the entire athletic field. Everyone nearby turned to look. She threw herself into my arms, holding me as tightly as she could. You really said yes. You actually said yes. I'm not dreaming. I laughed. No. You aren't. The next second, she burst into tears, laughing and crying at the same time. I waited. For 3 years. I finally made it. I wrapped my arms around her. For the first time in a very long while. My heart felt completely at peace. The following morning, the university forum crashed. The headline read, "Official Lin Mo and Jiang Qingyu are dating." The comments exploded. "This ending is perfect. 3 years of secret love finally paid off. I believe in love again. This is sweeter than any TV drama." Elsewhere, inside the library, Su Wangqing quietly looked at the announcement on her phone. She remained silent for a long time. Finally, she smiled, even though tears quietly slipped down her cheeks. Her roommate looked at her with concern. "Wangqing, are you okay?" She gently wiped away her tears, then nodded. "I'm fine. I'm really happy for him. He finally met someone who treasures him the way he deserves." She looked out the library window. A peaceful smile slowly appeared on her face. Some people enter your life to help you grow. Others stay until the very end. Lin Mo had been the first. Jiang Qingyu had become the second. 2 years later, graduation day. The campus was bathed in warm sunshine. I stood in my graduation gown. Jiang Qingyu stood beside me. She suddenly smiled. "Lin Mo, if you hadn't broken up with Su Wangqing back then, do you think we would have ever been together?" I thought for a moment, then shook my head with a smile. "I don't know. But I do know one thing. I'm glad I chose to walk away. Because sometimes, an ending is simply the beginning of something better." She laughed, then reached into her bag, carefully taking out something wrapped in tissue paper. The black jacket. Freshly cleaned. Perfectly preserved. She held it toward me. "I think it's finally time to return this to its owner." I accepted the jacket, then gently took her hand instead. "You don't have to." She blinked. "What?" I smiled. "The jacket. And you. They both belong with me now." Her face instantly turned crimson. The students around us burst into cheers. The graduation bells rang across campus. Sunlight poured over the two of us. And as we stood there hand in hand, I realized something. Sometimes letting go isn't losing. Sometimes, it's making room for the person who has been waiting for you all along. Years later, I finally understood something. The person who truly loves you will never make you feel like you're asking for too much. The ones who take your love for granted usually don't realize what they lost until you're already gone. A love that arrives too late may still be sincere, but the one truly worth holding on to is the person who chose you from the very beginning and never stopped choosing you.